Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment of the show here is brought to you by Badger Tree Care, the local tree care business serving Clark and surrounding counties. Free estimates. They provide everything from tree removal to tree trimming and pruning, full cleanup, small lot clearing, storm cleanup. They do it all. Call Trevor down there at Badger Tree Care, 715-937-3276. That is 715-937-3276. Check them out on Facebook. Follow them over there. Follow the page there, and you can, call them up. Call them up. They do it all. Badger Tree Care there. So we were talking when we went to the break. We got into a few questions there from the fans, and I want to get back into the Brewers here as we prepare for this NLDS series here coming up. Don't know the opponent yet, but we'll wait and see on that one. But I want to do a little bit of a roster prediction. So here we go. My roster prediction for the Brewers going into this NLDS. Catcher is pretty easy. Contreras is going to be there. Danny Jansen will be there, the backup catcher. Infield is where it's going to get weird. In my opinion, the infield is where it's going to get weird for the Brewers. You're going to have Jake Bauers, Andrew Vaughn, Bryce Terang, Caleb Durbin, Joey Ortiz. This is where the weird part's going to be. Who do you carry next? Andrew Monasterio's got to be there. So you have 6. After that, I don't know. Rhys Hoskins, I don't think he makes the postseason roster. Not for the NLDS at least. Maybe he gets on later on. I just don't see him making the roster for this NLDS. He might be a taxi squad guy, but he's not going to be on the roster right off the bat. So that's kind of where I see that one. Outfielders in this one, I think you're going to carry Churio, Yelich, Frelick, of course. You're going to have Isaac Collins. And then I think it's going to be Blake Perkins. Brandon Lockridge is probably going to be that last guy in there. I think you're looking at, if you do that, you have 14 guys for position players between the 6 infielders, 6 outfielders, and 2 catchers. What I could see them doing also is I could see them leaving one of these position players off, which would be Brandon Lockridge. I think it'd be Lockridge stays off. I don't if it's going to be either Lockridge or Hoskins, in my opinion. And I think you have 2 first basemen already. I don't know in the playoffs if you try to monkey with Jake Bauers in the outfield and Vaughn at first. I think you're going to have those 2 working like a DH kind of role, if anything, if they're both in the lineup. Otherwise, one's going to come off the bench. So, in my opinion, it's between Lockridge and Rhys if you're going to carry 14 and 12 for pitchers. If you're going to have 14 position players and 12 pitchers, I think you're going to probably – it wouldn't surprise me if you got 13-13 and you carry Tobias Myers in that pitching room. So that's kind of where I think it's going to be. I think they're going to probably, if anything, Lockridge will be there for outfield, depth. And if they're not going to care, if they're going to look more 13-13, then I think Lockridge gets cut out, and I think that's the rest of it then. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with it. Starting pitchers, I think this one's pretty relatively easy if Brandon Woodruff is not there. If Brandon Woodruff's there, I think this changes. Freddie's going to have game 1. I think Quinn Priester has game 2, and then I think Jose Quintana set up for game 3. I think that's going to be the 3 that they roll with. I don't think Mizorowski's even in the question at this point. I don't. So I think you're going to see those 3 set up for your starting pitchers in this one. Relief pitchers, I think it's pretty straightforward. It was at the back end. Trevor McGill came back. He looked good. You're going to have him. You're going to have Abner Uribe. You're going to have Jared Canning. Those are going to be your 3 big guys at the back end. Nick Mears has been fantastic. You're going to have him in there. Aaron Ashby's also going to be along with them. And then this is where the interesting part comes in, right? Your long relievers are always the interesting ones. And this is where I might differ from some. I think you have to. Chad Patrick's going to be there, I believe. I think Tobias Myers has got to be in there. So if you add Tobias Myers in there and you have Chad Patrick, I don't know. It's almost okay. So then it comes down to you have Rob Zanstrinsky, who's a lefty. You have DL Hall, who's a lefty. And you have Jacob Mizorowski, who's your flame-throwing right-hander. I think Jacob Mizorowski is going to be there. I don't know if I like Jacob Mizorowski. I think he's got a ton of talent. I don't know if I put him on the roster. Just point blank honest. Because in my opinion, Jacob Mizorowski, the control, where do you put him? Like, where do you see him in a game? Throwing him in the 6th, 7th? Throwing him in the 5th? Like, where do you see Jacob Mizorowski's role? It's not in a spot up like bases loaded to get out of an inning. The control's not there. The walks have been high. The pitch count gets real high. And when he starts missing, he's missing. It's hard for him to get back into a groove. So you get nervous about bringing him into a spot, bringing him in with a small lead. He makes me nervous the way that he's been throwing. Tobias Myers has been solid. Chad Patrick's been solid all year. Rabczynski against left-handed batters, 196 average for the batters, 523 OPS this season. The Miz, why he wouldn't get a pass to get into the bullpen is he's just got dynamite stuff. When it's all working, it's dynamite. But he sometimes feels like lightning in a bottle. It's there. When it's there, it's exciting. When it goes out, it's, well, yeah, can get scary. So I don't know what they're going to do. The pitching, the long relief is where I think it's going to get weird. That's where I think the biggest question marks for me is in the long relief portion of it. I would have Tobias Myers in there. You can have, well, I guess it depends on how you set it up. If you went with how many position players versus how many guys in your bullpen. Because if you had 12 and 14, if you had the 14, which means Brandon Lockridge or Rhys Hoskins made it, then you wouldn't be able to have Tobias Myers along with Chad Patrick and all them guys. If you didn't have, or if you went 13 and 13 with your roster for the 26-man roster, if you went 13 and 13, then you'd be able to have a guy like Tobias Myers in that spot with a Miz, with a Chad Patrick, with a Zastrinski, with a DL Hall. You'd be able to have them all in that bullpen. So that's why I'm kind of in that 13-13 role, because I don't trust Jacob Mizorowski to stretch a game. I don't. I think he's a one-inning hitter. That's it. So if I'm the Brewers, I'm looking at a Chad Patrick or a Tobias Myers, one of them guys, to come in for a long relief role if you needed it, or a spot start if you needed it. I don't know if Jose Quintana's not ready. I do not. Jacob Mizorowski, he's not extendable. I don't think he's extendable at this point here. He's a guy where you put him in, it's like first sign of trouble, you're getting him out as fast as you can. That's where I'm at with Jacob Mizorowski. So that's going to be the weird one. Will be the long relief, what they decide there. But for me, I think Tobias Myers got to be in there, and then it's a question mark about who you leave out at that point. Chad Patrick's been good, so I don't know if you leave out a lefty then, if you leave out DL Hall. That's a question. That's what we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out here most likely on Saturday what the Brewers are kind of looking there. But they have a lot of guys there for workouts. I mean, Brandon Woodruff was back with the team on Saturday, so that's good sign there. Pat Murphy said that we were gonna know more about it. We haven't gotten any news, so we'll kind of just wait and see what Pat Murphy comes out and says about Brandon Woodruff, if he will be available, if he'll be there, what the plan is with Brandon Woodruff here moving forward. So I wanted to look. We just got the roster prediction there. I want to look what the lineup's going to look like. The rotation, I kind of expected to be Freddie, Quinn Priester, and then Jose Quintana. If anything, you maybe wait with Priester. If you win game 1, maybe you leave Priester for game 3, and then you pitch Jose Quintana game 2. I don't know what the Brewers would kind of shake up there. Maybe you kind of try to play spots. You kind of try to play, well, how can we work this? And then they have a day off after game 1, so you kind of get that space. So there's gaps, right? There's gaps for this Brewers team to be able to maybe wiggle around, maybe have a Quinn Priester wait until, because you're going to have game 1 on Saturday. Game 2 will be on Monday, and then you'll have another day off, and then game 3. So you can almost go, you're going to have Freddie, and then you'd pitch, let's just say, you'd almost want Quinn Priester, to be honest with you, because then you could get Quinn Priester back for game 5 if you needed him. So I guess you're looking Jose Quintana being your game 3 starter, so you can have Quinn Priester back for a game 5. So yeah, there you go. That's the way I'd set up the rotation. Freddie for game 1, so you can have him back for game. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'd have him for game 4, and then if you needed it, game 5 would be Priester after he pitched in game 2. So that's the way that I would kind of shake it if I was the Brewers. Freddie, Quinn Priester, then Quintana for my rotation. Looking at the lineup, this is where it gets weird. Pat Murphy's been kind of rolling out with Yelich in the leadoff spot, and a lot of people were skeptical about that one. Pat Murphy says they're kind of thinking about it. It might be a plan for the playoffs. You want your leadoff guy to have like the most at bats, right? That's what they say, the most at bats, most RBI chances, and kind of protects the 9-hole hitter, which is Joey Ortiz. They want to have that safety blanket behind him, as they say. So that's kind of way that he's been looking at it. And okay. So Yelich in the leadoff spot, interesting. How do you look at the rest of the lineup then? Yelich leadoff spot in your DH role, followed by the way that it's been shaken out. I wouldn't have him here. I would have him in the 5 spot, in my opinion. But you have Jackson Chourio up there. I don't know. Would you almost think Yelich then Terang? I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate a Yelich then Terang, then Contreras. Then you throw Vaughn and Chourio in there, one or the other, maybe. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that kind of option there. But I think that it's going to end up being Yelich, Chourio, Contreras, Vaughn. Then we see a guy like Frelick working that 5. Or no, you're going to see, that's the weird part. So now Terang, okay. No, let's scratch that. Scratch that idea. Let's go. I think you're going to have Yelich leadoff spot because that's the way he seems like he wants to shake it right now. Yelich, then Chourio, then Terang, then Contreras. Then we're going to see Vaughn, then Frelick. Then I think you put Isaac Collins in there. Yeah, I think it's Isaac Collins. Then we see Caleb Durbin, and then we see Joey Ortiz. I think that's going to be the lineup. I think that'll be the lineup they roll out with. The only one that might flip around, depending on pitching matchup, will be, I think, Jake Bauers for Andrew Vaughn. I think that'll be the one that they kind of switch up. If anything outside of that, I think that's the lineup that we're going to see there rolled out for the playoffs there. So that's kind of where I'm looking. Lineup, rotation, everything like that. Yelich in that leadoff spot getting a little weird with it, but hey, we like it there. We like it there. So we got lots more to get into tonight here on the show. We're going to look into next year on the show. We're going to dive into the Packers. Elmer's going to stop by. We're going to talk some Packers. Kyle's going to stop by later. We're going to talk some NFL. We have lots of stuff to talk about. We're going to wrap. We got hour number 2. This is just hour number 2 of the show here. So make sure you guys are coming back here. Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Hour number 2 getting going here. We'll be back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment here, Elmer's stopping by. We're talking some Packers. This next segment is brought to you by Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood, Wisconsin. Expert traditional physical therapy and structural integration programming. Call for flexible scheduling and evaluations. Just call Chad down there at Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood. He'll get you right, doing whatever you were doing, feeling better than ever. So Elmer's here tonight. We're talking a little Packers. Elmer, how we doing on this Wednesday?
Not bad, man. It's been another crazy week at work, and I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of happy it's a bye week because I don't think I can go through any more stress that the Packers have put me through these last 2 weeks.
Man, for a team that, like, you beat the Lions, you beat the Commanders, and then it's been like, wow, we thought this was going to be the easy part of the schedule, and
right?
It has turned to be nothing but. It has been anything but an easy part of the schedule here. So let's just get right into it. Let's just get right into it today here. The Packers tie with the Dallas Cowboys, 40-40 in that game. And a lot of Packer fans, you always have this, right? You lose a game or you tie in a game that you don't think you're supposed to, and you lose a game a week before that. You have a lot of fans who call for the main man's job. That's what they do. And we've had a lot of guys who called for Matt LaFleur's job. Now, I think that's a little crazy because first off, you'd have to tell me who you're going to hire that's better than Matt LaFleur. I don't think there's a Dan Campbell or a Harbaugh or anybody, standing outside the doors right now waiting to come in, right? Matt LaFleur is one of the most winning and better coaches in all of football. So I don't think you're just going to drop Matt LaFleur.
No.
But, and here's the but. And this, Ummer and I we're chit-chatting at the break there, at the commercial break, and we're kind of talking about this. I said, I don't want to talk about, because we're going to talk about special teams. We're going to talk about Rich Bisaccia today. And I said, I'm so sick of hearing people talk about Rich Bisaccia because as much as we complain, right, as much as we say about it, it hasn't changed. Nothing's changed. He hasn't fixed anything. He hasn't, grown with the times, the new kickoff rule. You watch what Brandon Aubrey was doing to the Packers. They're putting it in just the right spot. The Packers haven't adjusted to that. The kick returns, everything like that. Special teams has just been terrible. He hasn't adjusted. And if you're not going to get rid of the guy, then why hasn't Matt LaFleur walked in there and said, Rich, we need to fix something here. We need to fix this. We need to change up the way you scheme things, whatever it is. He hasn't done that as far as we know, because we haven't seen it happen. I mean, Ummer, that's, I guess, my biggest problem. And we're going to talk about his conservative play and everything. We'll get to that in a minute here. But let's talk about the special teams first. That's one of my biggest problems is we sit here and we say, okay, Rich Bisaccia. And I agree. He's not good. He hasn't been good. He hasn't shown that he's been good. I get that. And I'm all in with that. But I'm also at the point where I'm like, Matt LaFleur, Brian Gutekunst, I don't care who it has to be. Whoever's above him has to walk in and say, Rich, this is what's going on. It hasn't been improved. You either are going to figure it out or we're going to find somebody else to do your job because you are not doing your job. We have seen multiple extra points blocked. We've seen special teams give up 40 yards every time we have a kickoff. I mean, watching Turpin I get Turpin's a very good kick returner, but you had nobody in the area code. You had nobody around him. He's getting it out to the 40. How much easier is it for Dak and Dallas to move the football when they're basically in Brandon Aubrey's field goal range when they start the drive? It's simple, but you have to walk in there as Matt LaFleur and just be the head coach of this football team. So I guess, Ummer, I don't know. Am I crazy thinking something like that? Like Matt LaFleur has to be the head man, the head coach of this team, and lay down the law here pretty darn soon.
I mean, I think we all knew that Rich coming back, even though he was contemplating retirement, should have been a telltale sign for us to know that he wasn't the guy for the job anymore. And seeing what this special teams has been, there has been no improvement on the special teams. When you look at Rick Gosling's rankings, it's been in the the high 30s for the last 3 years. He's really done nothing. And I agree with you. I think it gets to a point where, like, when you keep a coach on the staff who is underperforming continually, it becomes an indictment on the head coach. And LaFleur has done this in the past. But the funny thing is, when he saw Mo Drayton not get the job done, he cut him after 1 year. Sean Manenga cut him after 2 years. No, 1 year for him as well, too. Joe Barry, he let him play out his contract, and then he cut him, right? Yep. He has made decisions in the past. For whatever reason, he's not cutting this guy. And the thing is, we are starting to see, not like you mentioned it, minus the punter and the kicker doing their jobs, which they both are really good at what they do. You're not really seeing anything else improve. You're having extra points blocked. You're having field goals blocked. You are not able to even stop any kickoffs, and then your guys don't even know what they're doing. You have Golden, your first round receiver back there, fielding punts, and then he's trying to spin move like he's in Madden and taking massive hits. Lucky he didn't fumble that. You got Savion Williams, who grabs a ball that should have went into the end zone and then tries to take it out. And these guys don't even know the basic rules of what they should and shouldn't be doing in these situations, and that is all on coaching. And then when it comes to the block, we all saw it. It's basic peewee football stuff. Everyone, Justin Muscade and everyone said it, where you block from the outside in, never the inside out. And he, for whatever reason, completely whiffed. Maybe I'm saying that reverse, but he completely whiffed on it.
Inside then out. Worry about the inside guys work.
Yeah, that's right. Because you don't worry about the outside. That's why you always see the outside guys always, zooming in a lot of times because you're blocking the guys that are coming in. So, with all that being said, after you saw how you lost a game last week because of special teams, where is the emphasis? Where is the urgency, right? Because I'm not seeing it. And then, of course, our defense, Devontae Wyatt goes down. And it looks like he was literally I don't know, the second coming of freaking, what the hell, Jonathan out. Give me a good defensive tackle, man. Give me a good defensive tackle. Gilbert Brown. I don't know. Like they made him seem like he was like unstoppable on the defensive line. Once he goes down, the Cowboys basically scored on every single drive. It was embarrassing. And I'm at a point now where LaFleur is a good coach. He is a good coach. A part of me is like maybe we are giving him too much latitude because of what he's done in the past, because he's become lackadaisical and making the hard decisions when it comes to coaches and keeping them on too long, and then B, I know we're going to talk about the conservativeness of his play calling, because he used to be highly aggressive, and we need that guy back, because the guy that here is now he's literally in his press conference today said that he was scared about Aubrey, and last week he was scared about Garrett. And I'm sorry, like other coaches around the NFL, they game plan for those guys, but they're not scared of those guys.
Yeah.
And if you're playing scared because of certain players, I really feel like you may not be the right person for the job. And I don't want to lose him, but if you're not getting better every year, you're getting worse. And honestly, it's kind of scary to think like it feels like we have the training wheels back on, and it's not good.
Yep. And let's get right to that. I mean, you mentioned some great stuff in there, but that conservative play calling that we saw in that game, and the thing that irritated me was, if he knew, this was his quote, if he knew the game was going to end like that, he would have probably went a little faster. Okay, so.
It's
what
your
did
job
you expect was going to happen? Like,
it's your job to know that. Like, that's what you're
like, were you playing? And that's what I guess my conservative playing. And he plays, and this is how Matt LaFleur plays the game right now. He plays not to lose, but he also plays not to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
So he plays slow. He plays methodical. He doesn't do anything crazy. He doesn't get aggressive. He doesn't want to be embarrassed. He doesn't want to do those bad things, the Dan Campbell things, right?
Yep.
But nobody sits here at the end of the day and yells about Dan Campbell's aggressiveness, unless if he goes for like a 4th and 10 from his own like 30-yard line, or whatever the weird stuff he did against the Packers last season, where he didn't care and he went for it on 4th down. The Packers stuffed him, and then he ended up scoring. And he doesn't care, right? No. And nobody would be upset with Matt LaFleur if he just said on that the Packers. And this is where my irritation, I guess, came in with, especially with this game against Dallas.
Yeah, I know
Jordan Love was torching their defense over the top. There was nobody that could slow him down. That secondary was getting eaten alive by the Packers. Romeo Doubs was having a field day.
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur decided, let's run the football.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, if you take out, he had 2 runs in that game of big yardage, one for 19 yards, and he had another one, I think, for over 10.
Yeah, in the end of the game, they started running up because the defense was gassed. But you're right, though. He just kept like hammering away at it. And I'm like, your offensive line is not good at run blocking, but they're pretty decent at pass blocking. Regardless of you having backups in there, just throw the freaking ball, man. I hate saying it, but just throw the ball, man.
Yep. And that's where I guess my irritation came in with his conservative play calling, especially where he's like, oh, we're driving down the field. He had just hit a couple of good routes, and then he throws that ball behind the line to Golden. 0 yards, gets smacked.
I'm just like,
and it's like, why? I get the run pass. It's been there. It's been there tonight.
Yep.
But not now. We don't need that now. This was a drive where you can't have negative plays. You got to keep working down the field. And then all of a sudden it's, let's run the ball. Let's run the ball. And it's like 3rd and 2 or whatever it was. And he's like, let's run the ball. No, just dump it off to a guy. Dump it off to Kraft. Let him do a thing. Keep the offense moving. Keep it moving down the field. Don't slow it down with the run, because we know what happens, okay? Josh Jacobs gets tackled. He goes to the ground, right? He's on the ground laying there. Guys are on top of him. They're not getting off very fast because the clock's still ticking. Why would they get off fast? Oh, now we got to burn a timeout. Okay, now the timeout's gone. Then you get to that 30 seconds where you don't have a timeout. You can't stop the clock. Jordan Love doesn't know what's happening right now. He's walking to the line. There's no urgency. There's no nothing. The offensive line's like, what's happening out there right now? The tight ends don't know what's happening. The wide receivers are confused. And you got Jordan Love like, I don't care.
The damn ball. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, just do something. Do something with it. And Jordan Love looked lost. Matt LaFleur's on the sideline going, let's go. And Jordan Love's like, I don't know what's happening right now. Jordan Love played a great game outside of the last 30 seconds. The last 30 seconds made his game look bad.
Yeah.
That's as much as I got to say about that. Is Jordan Love had a fantastic night. He went toe-to-toe with Dak Prescott, who was having an all-star night himself.
Yep.
And he ruined it in the last 30 seconds because he looked lost.
Yep.
He had that killer instinct all night long, and it just went away in the
It's
last
like
30 seconds.
I wonder what the conversation was before you on the sideline before you went out there. Like, hey, don't make a mistake. Just try to drive down the field. Let's let's try to win this if we can. Let's kick a field goal. Like, I'm trying to figure out like what was the thought process, right?
I
Or
don't think there was one.
yeah, I don't. It just didn't make any
It
sense.
felt like they were honestly going for the field goal.
Yeah, it really did. Like, oh, we're gonna try to score, but if we don't score, we'll walk away here with a tie. No big deal. That's how it felt like. And I was just like, yeah, like I think what's his name, Eric Branchek said it on the peer that hit. They have a podcast they do, and he said like Dan Campbell wouldn't have done that. He would have went for it on that last play. He wouldn't even have kicked the field goal. He would have said the hell with it. He would have went for it.
Yep.
And even if he lost, he would still stay true to himself and went for it. And part of me was kind of like, yeah, like a part of like, if he didn't get it, okay, yeah, that would suck, but I would have wanted that. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I mean, in that play, then when he threw the ball to Golden and bounced off Sanborn's back, he had Tucker Kraft and Wicks open. They were both open on their slant routes. He just focuses on Golden for some reason. I don't know why. Golden wasn't open. He had double coverage, and he rushed it. Even though I'm like, yo, you have time. Well, actually, no, the clock was ticking, and that was another thing. Like, you don't even like spike the ball or anything. Like, were they scared that Aubrey were they scared that they had to kill the clock to where they get the last second score, so then the Dallas Cowboys couldn't come back and get in field goal range and kick a field goal or something? Like,
they were almost like the video where it's Aaron Rodgers having too much time and the other teams giving him too much time. That's what it felt like Matt LaFleur was playing that game like, is that primetime Rodgers was on the other side. And that tells you what he felt about his defense that night.
Oh yeah, that defense was,
because if
let him down.
He's playing like he was conservative football, trying not to let them have the ball back, it feels like he's scared that they're going to walk the ball down the field and put her in the field goal
range. Which they basically did after Devonta Wyatt went out, right? Yeah, 100%.
Yep. No, I agree 100%. And you look at the old saying. The old saying is, at home you go for the tie, on the road you go for the win.
Yeah.
So the conservative play calling, once again, it's going to be Matt LaFleur's downfall. It really is. His choice of words right now and his play calling is going to be his downfall, if there is a downfall for Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. And
one last thing, I know we beat up on special teams a lot. If they don't get that blocked extra point for 2 points, they get no momentum.
Yep.
We had them on the ropes. We have go up 2 scores. Even though you and me are both mad as I don't know what, when they're over the 50 and it's 4th and 2 and they're not going for it, and they're trying to do that same crap where they get up to the line and they don't go for it and they think they're going to fake somebody out, even though out of like 10 times they've gone for it once. And I'm just like, I just can't. I think at that moment, I believed he was believing in his defense. Okay, fine, no big deal, because I got 3 and out, right? But part of me is kind of like, yeah, like it's like he's in this bad space where when he should go for it, he doesn't, and when he shouldn't go for it, he does, and he's doing that over and over and over, and that's gonna be the end of him if he can't figure out, because his gut stuff is what's killing him. He was doing analytics before, now he's doing it about the gut, and I wonder if that's Rich Bisaccia in his ear giving him all the wrong advice.
Yep. Yeah, it's like his challenge. It's like his use of challenges. His use of challenges have always been
terrible too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think he finally won one not too long ago.
Yeah, he did.
He had actually even been close to winning one, and he finally got one there.
Yeah.
So
the first game, actually, I think it was against Detroit. You won the one.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was there. So I mean, it was all in all, and we'll just wrap it up with this here. I mean, we'll just wrap it up with final thoughts on this game against Dallas, but. All in all, I mean, you look at the whole grand scheme of things. The defense, there was no gang tackling. There was no flocking to the football. It was the exact opposite of what we've seen from week 1 to now. They were rushing with 4. I thought, honestly, all in all, the offense looked good. I mean, they scored 40 points. It's hard to not look good in that. But like you said, the special teams was a letdown once again, giving Dallas good field position in all areas, whatever it was. And then that blocked field goal was huge. People don't see it as being huge, but 2 points. Didn't seem big until it was. So that was huge. Yep, that was huge in that game. Gave him life. Matt LaFleur's conservative play calling down the stretch. I thought his play calling throughout the game wasn't bad. And he tried to get Josh Jacobs going. I understand it. You want to, but there's a time and a place.
Yeah.
It's not at the end of the game when you're trying to push the ball down the field. It's earlier in the game when you want to get it going. So I can see where he was going, but a little late for that one. Cooper had a rough game, but I don't know who
he's not been really he's been off these last couple weeks. So I don't know.
The defense was off, but it was also because, like I said, Jeff Hafley had one of his worst games as a defensive coordinator in the NFL. So that was a problem. I've seen good things out of Keyshawn Nixon. I saw lackadaisical effort out of Keyshawn Nixon too. So we saw it both in that one. Carrington Valentine got torched a couple of times. Hobbs Hobbs had a really, let's just leave it
Did
at
you see
Hobbs
that play? He doesn't even know where the ball is. I'm like, bro, you're in the corner, dog. Like,
Hobbs was rough. Let's just go with that. Hobbs was rough. I mean, this is one to forget. It was a tie, and that's what you can look at it as. It was a tie, and thank goodness it was a tie, because it might not have been. It might not have been. It was 1 second left on the clock. So, I mean, it could have not been a tie. So at the end of the day, we should be happy that it was a tie, because it could have been a lot worse looking back on it right now.
That's true.
So I guess, I mean, final thoughts before I got to let you go here. Final thoughts on that game against Dallas. Let's put a bow on it. Let's move to the bye week.
Man, they got a lot to clean up in this bye week. And I hope they figure it out, and I hope Watson is back on Monday, because they need the help at receiver. I mean, I think, they don't, with Jaden Reed going down and just that, Dobbs played his butt off, but we just need another guy out there, because Golden, he's not there yet. Savion hasn't even been throwing the ball. He's been just literally using sweeps. Dontavian Wicks, again, his first drop of the season was one where it falls into his breadbasket, even though he get PI'd and he couldn't catch it, right?
Yep.
And all in all, I'm telling you, like, I'm just happy it's the bye week, so I can watch Sunday football and not have to freak out about the Packers for a weekend. That's it.
Gives you a chance to relax. Brewer baseball's on this weekend. That's all you need to know. Brewer baseball's on, so we can watch that. Hopefully they spank whoever they're playing, and we can just not worry about anything else. That's the hope. That's the hope there. So, Umar, thank you as always for stopping by tonight here. Let the people know where they can find you out there across social media.
You find me on Twitter at AMAR3455. We missed last week. A lot of things going on both our sides, but we'll probably have a bye week episode this week, and then keep it pretty short and simple. And then after that, get back onto track next week. So, but yeah, just you can find me there. You can find Coast to Coast Packers on Twitter, TikTok, Kick, and Instagram.
Make sure you guys are checking him out. He's always got great opinions out there. He's sharing a lot of stuff, so make sure you're checking him out there across social media, and make sure you guys are checking out Coast to Coast there. Like he said, there's a lot of madness. I was under a sink working on a sink this weekend. There was a lot of not good things happening there. Electrician tries plumbing. That's what was happening at my house there. It's like a cat and water. We don't mix very well. So, Umar, thank you as always for stopping by tonight here. We'll be back here at the backside of the ad break. Kyle's going to stop by. We're going to talk some NFL. We're going to talk some MLB. We'll be right back here. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment is brought to you by B&H Concrete Lifting. At B&H Concrete Lifting, their motto is simple. Are you tired of tripping over those driveways, those sunken driveways, maybe the patio, maybe the sidewalk, everything's starting to dip on you. The weather, it gets wet, everything like that. Everything's starting to dip. With B&H Concrete Lifting, you can ditch the trip hazards without breaking the bank on new concrete and have it leveled for less than half the cost of replacement. That's all you need to know. That is absolutely all you need to know. Call our friends down there at B&H Concrete Lifting. They'll come down, they do an estimate for you, and it's that easy. It's that easy. A complimentary estimate. It's that easy. They'll come down there for the price of concrete these days. Check out these guys first. B&H Concrete Lifting. So Kyle's jumping on next. We're going to talk a little NFL. We're going to talk a little MLB here. Kyle, how we doing? It's Wednesday. MLB playoffs in full swing. NFL getting kind of weird on us. There's a lot of weird things going on in the NFL. A lot of teams that we didn't expect to do good or whatever. A lot of that going on. So Kyle, how we doing on this Wednesday?
No, I mean, it's a great time of the year. Red Sox make the playoffs. I'm obviously happy about that. Didn't look like that could happen all year. Seems like it's a weird NFL season, and I'm kind of here for it. So, yeah.
I agree 100%. It is absolutely weird. Like, the AFC for me is wild. It's all over the place. Let's start there, Kyle, with the power rankings of the week. We've been hitting here and there throughout the show about, NFL Packers, everything like that. But let's look at the grand scheme of things right now, because it's odd when you look at it. So let's look over at the AFC right away. I mean, for me, there's a clear-cut favorite. And then after that, it gets weird and jumbled after that. So, Kyle, I mean, looking at the AFC right now, who do you have in your give me your top 5 power rankings right now? Who do you got in there?
All right, so I normally go 1 to 5. I'm like, let's go the other way. That's how you normally do it anyway. So 5, I'm actually gonna go with the Patriots.
Oh,
They're 2-2. I think Drake May is establishing himself as one of the good young quarterbacks in this league. Defensively, they're stopping the run. They're making it tough on opposing quarterbacks. Coming off a big win over Carolina, I have them at 5. I have the Chiefs at 4. Obviously, they were out of my top 5 last week. They're back in after their big win over Baltimore. Now they're getting guys back, which might be the scary part. They're still a few weeks away from getting Rice back, but Worthy comes back. He has a big impact on the Baltimore game. I have them at 4. I've got the Colts at 3, even though they lost to the Rams, but they're still a good team. Rams are a good team as well, so a loss like that, I feel like I can live with. And Daniel Jones is still playing well. 2, I still have the Chargers at 2, despite the loss to the Giants. But Herbert, that team, they're playing well. Only hesitation: Joe Alt gets hurt. Slater's already missing time. If the 2 tackles are gone, then it could spell trouble for the Chargers. And then one, like you alluded to, Buffalo's still the best team in the AFC. Like, no question about it.
Yep. No, I agree 100%. That AFC is tough because, like, the Steelers, not even there. I mean, you're talking about it's weird to think a 3-1 team top of the AFC North, but it's because the AFC North, I mean, that got like that way that the Ravens have looked as of late, the injuries that they have piling up with Lamar and everything else, Joe Burrow being out with the Bengals. It's like the Steelers could just run away with it, and they should. Yeah. And that's kind of where we're at right now. And that's why, I mean, not even a top 5 when you really it's hard to even think about them as a top 5 because they haven't played great football themselves. I mean, honestly, they haven't played great football themselves, but they should be able to run away with the division the way that it's going right now. So, yeah, I like that top 5. The Broncos, we all thought the Broncos were maybe better what they are. They haven't really shown it yet. I like that there. Outside of that, I mean, there's nothing really I have wrong with your top 5 at all. Cause like it's the AFC is, I don't want to say bad, just very jumbled right now. And a lot of things still trying to figure, a lot of injuries. That's what it is. There's a lot of injuries across the board in the AFC. So let's flip over. Look, NFC. What are you seeing right now in the NFC? What are your power rankings? This one, there's a lot of good teams. And that's why this one a little trickier when you look at the NFC picture.
So NFC, I'm going to go Packers at 5. They tied against the Cowboys. I didn't like their execution in overtime, but they're still a talented team. I think what we'll learn is that the Cowboys, at least offensively, are more competitive than we might have thought. Defensively, they're still going to give up a lot of points. But I have the Packers at 5, despite the tie, whether you want to consider it a loss, but they're still a good team. I have the Seahawks at 4. I love what the Seahawks do defensively, and Darnold is actually playing well. So if he can keep that up with the way that their defense is playing, I think the Seahawks could be a playoff team. 3, I have the Rams. Big win for them over the Colts. Love the way that they executed late in that game. Stafford's playing well. That was my Achilles heel with them, is his health. He's healthy. So the Rams are 3. I have the Lions at 2. I just love the physicality that they play with. Goff plays within himself. Dan Campbell is a great motivator, coach. Like he's the spearhead for everything going on in Detroit. And then 1's the Eagles. They're undefeated. They're now doing variations off the tush push. So now that's something else you have to think about. Even with A.J. Brown having his, yearly hissy fit, but the Eagles are the best team in the NFC.
Yeah. I like that one. There. So yeah, I would be in that same boat. The Packers have 5. The execution in overtime. We talked about it just before, but that whole game was a tie, but it felt like a loss because it just the way that it went down, and then the aftermath, some of the press conferences that just it just got to you there. So yeah, I like that power ranking there. I mean, the San Francisco 3-1, but they haven't been there's holes. Nick Bosa being out, there's holes. You can tell. So I kind of see that one there. And outside of that, I mean, Tampa, Baker's look good. I mean, the NFC is a little harder. That's what I was saying. Like you look at the AFC, it's like there's a clear cut top and then down. I mean, you look at the NFC, the Eagles, they're winning games. That's what matters, right? They're winning games, but have they impressed yet? And that's where you look at the stats and it's like they haven't impressed yet. They're just winning football games. Yeah. So I mean, you take wins with I don't know, you take wins with losses, but you take wins over stats, I guess, and that's where the Eagles are at right now there. So I would completely agree with that. So Kyle, before we jump over, we're gonna get to the Mellow Yellow Minute here in a second, but give me, I always ask you every week, the fantasy players of the week, the guys that we need to look for. If you have a fantasy team out there, these are the guys Kyle thinks that you should be looking for. Or maybe they're on your bench. Maybe you got to start them. Maybe you have them already. Who are your guys going into this week, Kyle?
So I have CJ Stroud, who in ESPN's fantasy football is available in 47% of leagues, which I was kind of surprised by that. But he's going up against that Ravens defense. We just saw the Chiefs get right against that defense. Now they're even more banged up, and CJ Stroud and that offense haven't looked great. I feel like they found some footing against Tennessee last week. So I'm looking for CJ Stroud to have a good game against that Ravens 31st ranked pass defense. If you need a running back, Trey Benson is free in about 46% of ESPN leagues. He's going up against the Tennessee Titans, who have a good pass defense, but their rush defense is 28th in the league. You know, James Conner is missing. The Cardinals need to run the ball to take pressure off of Kyler Murray. So look for Trey Benson if you need a running back because of the bye week. Benson might be a 1 week play because he does play some tough defenses after. Then if you need a defense, I'm looking at the Browns defense, which is actually available in 96% of ESPN leagues, going up against the Minnesota Vikings team where Carson Wentz, real shaky, spearheading that offense. And they're 24th in passing yards. They're 30th in rushing yards, while the Browns are first in rush defense and fourth in pass defense. So I think you have a really good matchup there if you need a defense, once again, with bye weeks now hitting you in fantasy football.
I like that. Browns available. That's crazy to think how good the Browns defense has been this year. I mean, that's the only reason why they're semi-relevant to the world at this very moment. You know, beat the Packers too. I mean, that defense is very stingy, very good. I like that one there, and especially going up against the Vikings, who right now they might sign Joe Flacco. I don't know. Maybe Joe Flacco ends up there. We don't know what's going to happen with the Vikings up there. It's kind of a hot mess at this very moment. But Kyle, as always, we got to do the Mellow Yellow Minute.
Yep.
Kyle looked at me when we started this, and he's like, did you forget? And I'm like, no. We didn't forget. We're going to get it halfway through, split up this in the MLB. So, Kyle, Mellow Yellow Minute of the Week, the trivia portion of the show that we do in honor of my grandpa. And this little portion here, we are going to do the top breakfast foods popular in the U.S., ranked worst to best, tastingtable.com. This is the top 5 according to tastingtable.com. Kyle, we have hash, which is basically a breakfast food, potatoes, other veggies, some meat mixed in there. So it's called hash. We have a frittata. So that's that's just basically an egg. What is this thing? It's a fluffy pillow of savory goodness is what it's called here. You'll have to look up what a frittata is if you really need to know. So we got frittata there. We have oatmeal. We have breakfast burritos, and we have breakfast sandwiches. Why are 2 of them just random things that nobody has ever really done, and then the other ones are basic, like, breakfast foods? That just baffles me. Okay, Kyle, 1 through 5. What do you got? Give me number 5.
All right, so number 5, I'm going to go – let's go oatmeal, 5.
Oatmeal is not number 5. Oatmeal is a surpriser in this one.
All right, so then 5 – you know what? Give me the frittata at 5.
Frittata is number 5.
Yeah.
Frittata is number 5. Get the weird one out of the way. It's probably not even weird. People listening are like, I have frittatas every morning. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
So 4? I'm going to go breakfast burrito at 4.
Breakfast burrito is not 4.
Okay.
I would think of the hash. Yes. Yeah. Think of the staples near the top, and then the weird ones get towards the middle and bottom, I guess you could say.
Okay, so frittata 5, hash 4. I'll go the breakfast burrito 3.
Not breakfast burrito.
Is it the oatmeal?
It is the oatmeal at 3.
I knew it was one of them.
It's a middle of the pack. It's a bland yet boring yet still good food. So you got breakfast sandwiches and breakfast burritos 1 and 2. What do you got?
I have to think the burritos 2 with the sandwich being 1.
It is not. The sandwich
Really?
is
The
2.
burritos
The
number
burritos
1.
1.
Okay.
It's that Taco Bell magic. I don't know. Those breakfast burritos at Taco Bell must have put them over the top.
Okay. Hey.
It threw me for a loop when I saw frittatas and all that kind of stuff. I when I pulled this list up, it looked pretty good because I looked at the top 3 and I was like, oh, burrito, sandwiches, oatmeal. And then I looked at the rest. I'm like, hash. What's hash? And then I look further. I'm like, frittata. I mean, there's some crazy stuff on this list. Like, there's a quiche on here. Goodness, there's a quiche. Bacon comes in at number 12.
That's crazy.
That's nuts. Yeah. What is this? What is this crap list? I'm done with this list. Done with this list. We're done with it. We're done with that. Just bacon at 12. Are you serious right now, man? I
mean, could have had like just a good scrambled egg.
Yeah, that's what scrambled eggs number 14.
Okay, yeah.
How is it like these are basic? We just gave you this. Who's making a frittata in the morning? Like you go up, you make scrambled eggs or bacon. You ain't making a frittata on a random weekday at 5 a.m. while everybody's screaming at you because you got to get to work. No, whatever. This list is junk. I'm writing a bad review on this tastingtable.com when I'm done here. That's all I know. They're getting a bad review. So Kyle. Let's look a little MLB real fast here. Let's look at the MLB postseason. Regular season's wrapped up now. We're moving into the postseason. The playoffs have already started here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, looking at this bracket, just seeing it, is there any, I guess we've already seen the matchup start, right? We've already seen the wild card start as we're talking right now. We got wild card games going on all crazy right now. We don't know the outcomes. As you guys know, we're day before or shooting the day before. So we don't know the outcomes of all these wild card games. But is there, okay, let's look ahead. Let's look ahead because by the time we're done talking here, the wild card's going to be over with. Is there any matchups that are going to entice you if you got them, right? Out of the wild card round, we see like who's going to match up with the Mariners there, who's going to match up with the Blue Jays, the Brewers, the Phillies. Is there a matchup or matchups that entice you to see in that division series?
Well, I guess if you get I guess you would get the Yankees Red Sox winner to face the Mariners, which I think could be interesting because the Mariners are going to have a lot of
Blue Jays, right?
Is it? Yeah.
It's goofy because we think opposite of what it's supposed to be. The 4 and 5 ends up playing the 1, and the 6 and 3 ends up playing the 2. When I talked about it earlier in the show, I think it should be reseeded after, where the lower seed would end up playing the 1 seed. So it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, but okay, so your Yankees Red Sox winner would face the Blue Jays, which would then mean divisional opponent for the Blue Jays. They finally have a good year, and staring them in the face could be a team that they faced all season. Right. That's intriguing to me. I think National League side, like I believe you could get Cubs Brewers in the divisional round. So I feel like if you get divisional foes in the divisional round, those matches always interest me because those are teams that know each other so well. And postseason baseball, every pitch you're like on the edge of your seat. A bloop here, a double there can just change momentum in October. That's what makes it so much fun. So I'm looking for those divisional matchups in the divisional round.
Let me ask you a question before I have to let you go.
Yeah.
Because I talked about this a little earlier when I was talking about the Brewers. Can you win in the postseason without home runs? Because according to Aaron Boone and the statistics, you got to hit home runs to win in the postseason. As we've seen, the Dodgers hit home runs. They hit timely home runs. The Yankees hit home runs. They made it to the World Series. Do you have to? Because the Brewers, if they're going to end up going far, are not a team that lives off the home run ball. And I feel like that benefits you because like you just said, a bloop, game changers. When you can just put the ball in play in the postseason because like you said, the lights are bright, the plays a little bit more intense. You could get a third baseman, whatever, rattled, make a bad throw by just putting the ball in play. So I guess in your opinion, is it going to be possible that we see a team like the Brewers who don't use the long ball win in the postseason?
You can. I think the opposite is your pitchers can't give up the long ball because home runs in October are killers. So if you offensively, my biggest thing outside of home runs is timely hits. That's more important to me. So if you get a walk and the next guy can come up and move a guy over to second, plays like that, if you don't hit home runs, actually can build momentum for you as well.
Yep.
Because that's the last thing pitchers want to see. They get 2 outs, they make a mistake, a guy bloops one, and then they're throwing more pitches and you're extending out the inning.
Yep.
The Brewers can be pests and win that way. And I think that's the way the Brewers should do it. You get a guy on, steal a base.
Yep.
Play that
Put
way.
pressure on guys. Put pressure on other teams. And that's the pedigree. That's what they've been doing all year, is putting pressure on opposing teams to win baseball games. So I love that answer right there. So Kyle, I got to run here. Let the people know where to find you out there across social media.
Easiest way, YouTube or Facebook, look up Chomping at the Bit, and then the links to the other socials will be there. That's the easiest way to find me.
Awesome stuff. He's got awesome stuff. The NBA season's right around the corner. Kyle's going to be diving into that here pretty darn soon. He's diving into MLB playoffs. He's got NFL stuff on there. This guy, he works harder than just about anybody out there across it. So make sure you guys are checking him out, Chomping at the Bit, across all social media platforms. Thank you, Kyle, as always. We'll be back here after the quick commercial break. We're going to wrap it up for the day on the backside of this Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we're coming back here and wrap it up here on this Wednesday. And hey, this last little segment here is brought to you by a fantastic sponsor, and that is Peggy Sue from Century 21 Gold Key Realty. She knows the area and the market. Make sure you check her out there. If you're looking to buy or sell residential or commercial, Peggy Sue has the knowledge and experience to deliver results. That's all you need to know. Peggy Sue there at Century 21 Gold Key Realty. So we got into a lot today. If you guys missed any portion of the show, make sure you're listening across all podcast platforms. Next day, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. You can find us out there. You can find us across all social media platforms. Just search Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. Any kind of variation of that, you can find us out there across all those platforms. So, final thoughts of the day here. The Brewers, they're going to be waiting for their opponent now. We're going to see, is it going to be the Cubs? Is it going to be the Padres? We wait and see here. We'll find out here in the coming days. Hopefully, I don't know. It's so hard. Do you want to cheer for the Cubs because you want to play the Cubs, but you don't want to cheer for the Cubs because you don't like the Cubs? So, what do you do there? You don't want to play the Padres. So it's it was a tough little stretch there. But final thoughts on that one there. The Brewers, I mean, they just got to get back to playing Brewer baseball. I think if they play Brewer baseball here in the NLDS, I think they'll be fine. I really do. I think the thing with the Brewers and why I think they ran into some trouble this season, or not this season, but the end of the season here, is they started to get away from playing Brewer baseball. I think they got to get back to their roots, get back to what they were doing early on this year and winning baseball games. That's the biggest thing, is that when they play Brewer baseball, when they play putting pressure on teams and playing that style of baseball, they're a hard team to beat. They do the little things better than you do anything. So that's the way I think the Brewers get by and win in this NLDS. So we'll see what kind of happens there. We're going to be talking when we come back here on the show next Wednesday. We're going to be talking, hopefully, about the Brewers going for a series win there in the NLDS. Maybe looking forward to Game 5. I don't know, whatever, or Game 4, whatever we got going on. We're talking about some good stuff there. Badgers got Michigan coming up this weekend here. I think it's 11 o'clock kick, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, it's gonna be a big noon kickoff there in Ann Arbor. Should be a good one. Should be a good one hopefully a good one, right? Hopefully a good one at the end of the day. Set up a good day there to watch the Brewers later on that night get a win in Game 1 of the NLDS. So with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your Wednesday. But until I talk to you guys again next Wednesday, see ya.